I'm Mick Griffin, Head of Growth at Traffit. Traffit is a ATS, it's a recruitment platform for companies who are hiring great candidates for great roles. I've been Head of Growth at Traffit for 4.5 years, and Head of Growth is a really fancy way of saying that I'm overlooking sales, marketing, customer success, and the overall brand here at Traffit. And I've been using Brand24 for those 4.5 years. It was one of the first tools on my list to really see if we are doing the right things here at Traffit as we grow. It's a great question. I mean, the focuses and the projects we've created at Brand24 have obviously changed over the years as the company has changed its requirements, but we've had 3 core projects from the very beginning. The first one has been to track our own brand. I think for me, this now becomes so normal, but for anyone who isn't doing this yet, it just really helps you understand how many people are talking about your business and if you're growing. The second core project we have is we track our competitor keywords. And this is really great for lead generation, also helps us understand what's happening on the market. And then the third one is we track a number of our personal brands from inside the business. The way that we grow at Traffit is we're really big on personal brands. My own name is in there at Brand24, our CEO, some of our marketing people, anyone that's really making an effort to increase the awareness of the company through their own name. We use Brand24 to help them know what's being said and if it's having a good effect. The interesting thing about Brand24 at Traffit as well is that we don't define it as a marketing tool. And what's nice is over our years of using the product, it's come from both sides. So in the beginning, of course, marketing were interested, but the CEO has been very much involved in tracking the mentions. Of course, through the lead generation, we've activated our sales team and our SDRs to learn more about how to use the tool, pick up those mentions fast, and through things. And what I would say is there's a big difference between the company using the product and finding value from the product. So for example, our CS, our customer success department, they don't log into Brand24 every day, but because we have integrations in certain channels, so when we find mentions of traffic from our users, they go directly to the CS team, they can click on those links, find out where things came from. And then what was really nice is our product and research and development team came to us and said, hey, listen, can we have access to Brand24? Do we have any keywords left over? We want to see what kind of features people are asking for on the market or where we can actually change the product technically. So at Traffit, it's easier for me to think about departments that don't use Brand24 right now, and it's probably accounting. I think everyone else has got their hands on. So really nice cohesion between the brands, but everybody's taking their own individual value away from it. So it's super interesting. Yeah, I mean, Brand24 has become such a great tool for me for tracking mentions of Traffit, our company. And that's because we have quite an unorthodox approach to marketing at Traffit. We're a startup, and what that basically means is that we do a lot of work here around brand, we take a lot of risks, but we're also really aware of the fact that we can't rely on Google Analytics to really paint that path from the work that we did to someone becoming a customer. We have gaps. We sometimes do things where we're not asking people to give us their email address, or we're not asking people to use a UTM. And that's risky. For many businesses don't do that because if they can't track it, they don't want to do more of it. So what we do at Traffit is we take those risks, and Brand24 fills the gap, because what we'll see is when we see those increases in direct or organic traffic or leads from those sources, we go to Brand24 and we look for mentions of traffic keywords in various different places. Maybe an influencer picked us up, or maybe there's more regular people talking about Traffit because of a campaign that we did. Using Brand24 for lead generation has been always one of the things that excites me the most about the product. I probably started tracking leads before I tracked the brand name, ironically using the product. A lot of our lead generation benefit from the tool is we track our competition. We are very lucky, ironically, because when I started, one of the things I always recommend to everybody I meet is someone somewhere online will be talking about the problem that you solve as a business. So one of the first things I did was I started tracking the keywords like ATS, recruitment tools, etc., and looking for those decision makers who are writing, can anybody recommend an ATS, etc. And we picked up some of those. But I'm in a very unique space, which makes me very lucky, is that we work in a place which is subdomain. So what that basically means is with Traffit and most of our competitors, when they post a job, it will be kind of like brand24.traffit.com/etc. So what that unlocks for me was I was able to track all of my competitors' keywords, and I instantly, through Brand24, get a list of all of their customers that are recruiting all the time. It really allowed me and my team to find qualified leads, which is a really specific part of this topic. So we're not talking about people who are at the moment where they want to buy. So they're saying, I want to buy an ATS, I want to buy a certain product, but they're showing us that they could be a customer of Traffit because they are using a similar tool or service. What that means for me and my team, when we use the Brand24 is what we call kind of like overflow. So when my team have worked through all their inbound leads, all their other tasks, and they come to me and they say, Mick, I'd love to get access to more potential customers, I go to Brand24, and we will get hundreds and hundreds of customers every single month, 100 potential customers every single month that my team can then go and check if we can bring them value or not. The other part about why this is so interesting for me as a head of growth is that normally when a company runs out of inbound leads, people coming to them asking about their service or their product, we have to go outbound. Now, we used to do cold calling, and our effectiveness of cold calling from having a potential lead to them engaging us, so we're not talking about people becoming customers, from being a potential lead to them talking to our sales team was 2%. When we do reach out through the leads we find through Brand24, our engagement rate is 30%. And that is because they are qualified and my team have a reason to talk to them. So my team will find someone who's using a competitive service and say, hi, I see that you're hiring for a marketing manager and I see that you're using this provider. That's great. We have some different values we can provide. Would you like to know more? And it's just so much more qualified and has such a better engagement rate than cold calling, because when we are cold calling, we really don't know where we're starting from. We can't say, I know that you're doing this, this and this. And Brand24 and the data inside the product just instantly gives us those reasons why we are talking to people for the first time. So for me, it's a game changer. Alongside the lead generation, which is so valuable for us, it brings us over 500 leads every single month, is we have two other great projects that have been born directly out of Brand24. So the first one was that I'm a big believer in the fact that as a business, to really generate revenue and leads, you need to be solving problems. Behind me is a great example because we have our library here. We have something called Traffit Library, which was a project that was born out of Brand24, which was basically, we were looking at all the topics being associated with our keywords like recruitment, being a recruiter, being in HR. And something that started to pop up was that a lot of recruiters and HR professionals were buying and selling books, their own personal books online. So they were posting on various different social platforms like, hey, does anyone want to buy this used book, etc. So we looked at that and thought, hey, first thing we can do, we can help solve that problem, because I don't think anyone likes selling books one by one. So we started to buy all those books from recruiters to help them out. And then we thought, well, what can we do next? And we created a library that now recruiters can go online and they can select a book from our library and we send it to them for free and they read it for 3 weeks and they send it back. That was one project that came out of Brand24, and if we are talking about the business benefits of this, we have over 700 members of our library. So 700 brand new leads who are qualified, because if you're reading a recruitment book or a HR book, you're not doing it for fun. You're probably doing it for work-related purposes. So we've got great interaction, and what's even better is those people are coming to us for a service. Brand24 was vital in that, because they helped us see what recruiters care about and talk about right now. And then the second project, which is something that's just released, is something that we call Traffit Experts, which was by monitoring what recruiters are talking about, we also try to find out the problems they have. Do they have problems finding good candidates? Do they have problems securing bigger budgets? Do they have problems even getting pay rises in their own businesses? And then through Brand24 and their analysis, we found 4 really influential thought leaders talking about those topics here in Poland. We reached out to those ambassadors, those influencers, and said, hey, listen, do you want to join an ambassador program for Traffit, where we just want to enable you to keep talking about those problems and solve those problems through creating blog content, webinars, etc. Very lucky for us, those 4 influencers, said, great, let's do it. And last week we launched that program. So hopefully on on the next version of this video, I'll be able to tell you the success of that project as well. My personal favorite feature in the product is so simple because it's the list of mentions. I'm a sales guy by heart, so I get really excited mention to mention and just looking and seeing those opportunities of potential customers or new people we could reach out to. What I think is really great as well is I really like the Slack integration because I think with something that we've taken from sales but I think is across the businesses, responding quickly really matters. So we have great Slack integrations for various different teams when something is mentioned and tracked by Brand24 and it comes into our daily life. And I think that's really smart because we're not refreshing Brand24 every 60 seconds and we don't have that part of the browser always open. But what's great is we have integrations where Slack or another tool like that is always open and it allows us to not only find really interesting mentions quickly, but more importantly, react to them. The really great thing of why I feel that Brand24 is a fit for Traffit is because it's easy to use. We've got a couple of tools in our technology where it's scary when I think, okay, we have a new hire, that person has to be trained, we have to teach them how to use it, we have to teach them how not to break it. We don't have that problem with Brand24. I mean, the fact is that showing our new employees, our existing employees, through the product, through the settings, through the usage, it normally takes me like 15 minutes. There's very little they can do to break it as well, which is great. So I think that's really important. And what's really nice is I just think that the ability for my team to train and ask Brand24 customer support questions is also really smooth and easy. They don't have to ask inside Traffit, who's the account manager, who's allowed to talk to such and such a person. All my team have access to Brand24 through the chat features and so on. And it just feels like a really nice sync and very startup, tech-friendly kind of product. One of the key challenges or lessons learned we have from using Brand24 is every keyword is different. You can have great projects in the past, and one of the things we found at Traffit, we work in the recruitment space. So when I started projects around recruitment tools or applicant tracking systems, the ideal world was I'd get all of these recruiters and businesses looking for tools like ours. But you have to remember that there is also another side to recruitment, which is the candidate. Sometimes in the beginning, we got overwhelmed with mentions that were not valuable to us through the tool in the original project, and then it takes time to refine required keywords, excluded keywords to get where we want it to be. I don't think it's a challenge of Brand24, but it's definitely something you have to take into consideration when you're starting new projects. Is you don't want to overwhelm your team. It's not about getting the most mentions, it's about getting the mentions that you can actually use. I think I'd have no hesitation recommending Brand24, but I think the reason for doing so might be a little bit different. A lot of people go to tools like Brand24 to track their keywords, and sometimes those keywords are not being used so often, etc. What I would say, why I would recommend it is, it's what happens next. So like I said, we use Brand24 to track the keyword Traffit, but what it actually means then is after that point, I can give my team the goal of increasing number of mentions. I can give my team the goal to get more people talking about the product. So again, it unlocks that ability of, do we need to have a UTM? Do we need to get people to give us their email address? It really gives my team a different dimension. And I think I'd recommend that to every person in marketing right now, because we seem so caught up and we seem so limited by only doing things that can be tracked. And then the second core reason is we should stop thinking about this as a marketing tool. Every head of sales, every head of growth out there, every business that wants more leads, this is the tool that unlocks that for you. I mean, leads we've been paying lots of money for leads for years now. Still, every single day, someone online is mentioning, like, I'm looking for a CRM, I'm looking for an ATS. Nobody is actioning them because sales teams get too caught up in the idea that that's a marketing thing to do. And marketing are thinking, well, I'm not in the business of lead generation. Once you use a tool like Brand24, and once a business realizes that you can take that barrier away of what it can mean, because it can mean anything, you could, like I said at Traffit, 500 potential new leads every month through the tool. I don't know any head of sales right now in 2024 that doesn't need that kind of access to leads. So they would be my two big recommendations. Give your marketing team the ability to do things that are not only trackable via UTMs and things like that. Let them have a bit of fun with marketing. And then go tell your sales team to stop cold calling, because this is kind of like 28% more effective right now, for at least for Traffit.